Hey guys, welcome to the new setup. I hope that it's not too different for you, but welcome to the comic book room. So let's go ahead and get started with this first in my new home, my new setting for the channel. This is going to be the new norm for all of these videos that you guys are going to have coming up. But let's talk about what I picked up at the comic shop this week. All right, first up, as always, we have the book of the week. And this week it is Skinbreaker, issue number 3 by Robert Kirkman and David Finch from Image Comics. And here you have this absolutely gorgeous artwork from David Finch. This book has taken years to complete, from what I understand, and even though it's 6 issues, it is really, really good. And it brings you into this world of tribes and chieftains, and you get to see that in issue 2, the challenge was accepted, and the man who was a young man is now an older gentleman, and he's the leader of the tribe, and his time is drawing near, and he's having an existential crisis because he says to his mentor, as he is praying to him on the planetary top one night, he says, "Enor, my chieftain." And you can see the power and the majesty that this chief commands. And yet, he says to his past chieftain, "You taught me everything that I needed to know, except how to let go when it's my time, when it's my turn to pass it on to a new generation, because I don't feel as though I've given as much as I can to these people who love me and who adore me. I don't feel like I've given everything in my power to provide for the next generation and the 10 generations after that." It's a powerful, powerful story that Robert Kirkman and David Finch are telling here. The only thing that really stinks is it's only 6 issues. So I have a feeling that that's why we're getting this generational tale in the way that it is, because I can see this book going on for a long time. I can see you getting a story of a tribe building from nothing. And then you get to see Enor, the original chieftain of this story, taking this tribe and building it up and making it so much more than it ever was. And I just feel like there's some cards left on the table. So maybe this particular story is a little more meta than Robert Kirkman intended for it to be. And here it says, I can't give you everything that you want. I can't give you enough to make this worth the 6 issues. I can only give you a fragment of what I feel the whole story is. Powerful stuff, guys. Absolutely amazing stuff. Now this one, The Invisible Man, issue 404 by James Tynion IV, Danny and Brad Simpson, threw me for a loop. Now maybe I didn't pay close enough attention in the original movie, but here you have the character, the main character, that you feel has been built up as the main villain of the story for 3 issues. And instead it turns out to be the young protege that he unfortunately did wrong. He created invisible animals. Then he moved on and found this boy Tommy living on the street, and he created Tommy and made him so much more than what he could ever have been without meeting this doctor, this physicist, this chemist. But at the same time, it's not what the boy wanted. He wanted to have a normal life. He wanted to be able to be so much more than simply a murderer, simply acting out the anger and the desire for what he is instead of what he could have been. And instead you get the character of James, I believe his name was. And he says, you could have had the world. I gave it to you. You were clever enough to wriggle out of my grasp, and you could have done anything. You could have ruled the world. And then Tommy says, you're mad. I knew it from the start, but I know it all the more now. Do you think I felt powerful? Even when I was cast out on the street, I never felt so alone. I saw things that I never should have seen and took no pleasure in it. Now, I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it twists and it turns in on itself. And it makes you think about who's good and who's bad, why we think of who is a hero and who is a villain. Because they're like onions. They have many layers. Each one of us has many layers to us. And it's kind of like the masks that you wear. And it's almost as though you wear a different mask with every single person that you interact with. You are a loving husband. You are a lifetime friend. You are all of these different things that you have been categorized into based on the mask that you wear. So this finished this off very, very strongly. And all of these Universal Monsters titles have been excellent, especially Creature from the Black Lagoon and Dracula, which was the first one up. And next up, they said we have got Phantom of the Opera coming in February. So Phantom is going to be next. These are excellent books, guys. If you're not reading these, you need to pick them up at your shop. All right, now some more superhero fare with Green Lantern by Jeremy Adams. And the art this go around is by DiGiomenico. And that is who? DiGiomenico? Carmine DiGiomenico. And you have the hard traveling heroes, Hal and Ollie, back together. And their wisecracks are just as strong as ever. But you know what? This artwork reminds me of somebody else. Where are you? Kind of reminds me of Giuseppe Camuncoli, who used to be the artist on Amazing Spider-Man. The artwork is similar to that, although it's not quite as sketchy as what that artist could do from time to time. You still have a little more detail in your figures. You can tell who's who. And what's fun is that you get to see Hal and Ollie just yucking it up the entire time. It's a blast. There's nothing better than sometimes a good buddy comedy, and to see these two heroes who have known each other and loved each other for years as brothers come together to try to take down this robotic sentinel. And then they have to take on a much bigger robotic sentinel. But this book was a lot of fun. Jeremy Adams knows Hal Jordan inside and out, and each and every month this title just continues to get brighter and brighter in our darkest night. Flash Gordon, also by Jeremy Adams, with art by Eder Macias, and let's see here, colors by Lee Loughridge, and letterer is Taylor Esposito. So here you get this almost got the book of the week, because you get Flash Gordon talking about how he was injured in a football game and how football can teach you so many great things about life. It's not just a sport, it's not just something like that. Because here's the lesson in the face of adversity. Fake it till you make it and be the confidence that you want to be. Don't let them see you in pain. Don't let them think that they can drag you down. Today I put the pain away, focus it into a singular task, and that's to win. But eventually you go back to Flash's predicament. And we're going to say it's the Flash of two worlds, where you have this Flash Gordon, who is our Flash Gordon, who is a hero. There's also an evil doppelganger version of him from this world that he's in now. So he has to pretend that he's the bad guy. He has to talk down to his subordinates. He has to mouth off to them. He has to make them feel less than nothing, because that's what that world's Flash Gordon would be doing. And in the end, he manages to build an army so that he can go home, free himself, defeat Ming the Merciless once and for all, and save all of his loved ones from this evil Flash. So we're building up to, 0 hour countdown, and we have to see where all of this goes. Because from what I understand, Jeremy Adams is only on the book through issue 15, and this is 13. So we only get 2 more issues, I believe, of Jeremy Adams writing this character. So we'll have to see whoever takes over the book, if that's really what happens, and see where this book goes, and see if I still continue to enjoy it as much as I do right now. But he's imbued Flash Gordon with a sense of comedy, but also with a sense of heroism that is equal to, if not paramount, to Spider-Man or Daredevil or Superman himself. He believes in himself, and he pushes through the pain so that he can save those that he loves. Feral, number 18, is next, and this is by Tony Fleecs, Trish Forstner, and Tony Rodriguez. And you get Lucky, who is now taking control of Pet City since the fall of the mother in the last issue, or maybe it was 2 issues ago. And he's trying to build something. He's trying to build his own fiefdom. But in the process, is he going to lose Elsie and all the other cats? This gets a lot of attention because of the artwork. You get some very, very Don Bluth looking artwork in this title, with the character work and the line work and the way that the characters move with one another. It looks like a Don Bluth film come to life. And in the end, you get to see Lucky at his worst. He was mean to Gigi's kids, and Gigi calls him out on it, and she says, Milo said that you hit him. And he said, he's lying. And then none of the other kittens saw it. And she said, and besides, you hit me the other day. So he walks off in superiority. These cats know who's under my protection and who isn't. Your kittens never have to worry, but the rest of them, and he turns his head to her, they should be concerned. So he's, kind of throwing an ultimatum out there. But this is a never-ending Don Bluth animated animal film, and I just can't get enough of it. It's excellent stuff. The artwork by Trish Forstner and Tony Rodriguez pulls you into the story, pulls you in emotionally, and then Tony Fleecs hits you in the back of the head with a baseball bat and just brings it all home, brings it to you, and all of a sudden you're just loving this world, loving these cats, loving their fight for survival. This was an excellent book this week too. Escape, issue 4 by Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna. You get Milton still in hiding in enemy territory. So this book also, it's been nothing but all-out action ever since the first issue. But this particular issue builds upon the character of who Milton is. It also builds upon the character of who his, not captors, but who his saviors are. Because you get to see the father and the son. And he threatens the father. And the father comes back at him and says, if I were the secret police, would I leave my boy unarmed with you? And he he said, no, you'd be blindfolded in an interrogation gulag, hand in a vice, and your hand if you're lucky. So it's like a World War II type story where Milton got shot down over enemy lines and he's just trying to get home to his family. So again, you've got very strong characterization, you've got motivation that anybody reading this book can totally get behind, and you've got this amazing artwork by Daniel Acuna that brings this story to life, and it makes you think, and it makes you feel, and it makes you wonder what you would do in these same situations. Because how do you know that they're not going to turn on you, but at the same time, how do you trust anybody that you don't know? You're putting your life in their hands, and you don't know whether you can trust them or not. Hands down, one of the best Rick Remender books I've ever read in my life, and he came out swinging strong out of the gate, and this book has not let up for 4 issues. All right, next to the last book we're going to talk about tonight is Conan Scourge of the Serpent, issue 3, I believe, of 4. And we continue with these 3 different characters in 3 different timelines. You have 1934, the Hyborian Age, and the Thurian Age. And all of these, you get, let's see. You get Kirwan, who is trying to stop Evelyn because she's been possessed by something. Conan is trying to figure out where he's at, and then you have King Cole, who sits on the throne with his picked warrior behind him, who is trying to protect him. But all 3 of these timelines are converging based around the Scourge of the Serpent. And so you have Medusa here. I'll turn the page quickly so that you don't have to look at it. You don't get turned to stone. But it says, within moments he's transfixed, prone, and easy prey, one more vanquished victim for the god in the bowl. And instead, Conan fights back. He's not going to go down quietly. He's not going to let this evil serpent take him down without a fight. He may lose, and he knows that, but he's not going to just let her win without inflicting his pound of flesh. Meanwhile, excuse me, you get Joseph Verloc, who is the main villain here in this 1934 timeline. And it's the dark mirror of James. It's the dark mirror of our hero in that time. And he says, you'll never stop me. We have circled one another through each twist of reincarnation. We slay each other's lovers or shatter each other's sacred rituals. But I show you this time when you die, the power in the ring that I wear, will ensure that I am eternal and that you do not return. Meanwhile, you get a spear thrower defending King Cole from all of his villains and all of the darkness that surrounds him in his time. If there are other words, other sounds, Pictish cries, or the swarming screams of snakes, they are lost to a scarlet maze of fury. So, like I said, you get these 3 characters all intertwined, all facing pretty much the same villain. And as it continues, it just keeps getting stronger. I keep saying it each and every time. Jim Zub knows these characters, writes them accordingly, writes them perfectly, and just brings you into this world of Conan, and now to these other 2 worlds, the Thurian Age and 1934. So they re-upped him for 3 years after that first very strong year of titles and stories. If they're smart, they'll re-up him for at least 2 to 3 more years as his contract nears it's time to start over again, which I think that put him through about year 4, so around 48 to 50 issues of Conan. I don't know that these count necessarily towards that, but he loves the character. He brings a passion to it, and that's something that older characters like Flash Gordon and Conan desperately need. They need these creators not who only are trying to collect a paycheck, but they're also trying to bring something out and modernize these characters without destroying the heart of who they are. All right, and the last book we're going to talk about in this video is The Department of Truth, issue number 34. James Tynion IV, Martin Simmons, but we also get a backup story by Scott Snyder and Joshua Higson. And here you have creepy people with masks. You have Cole and his boyfriend that are on the run from the Department of Truth because the Department of Truth has decided that they are expendable. This dude here trips me out. This guy here is creepy. He's nightmare fuel. But this book continues to build conspiracies upon conspiracies upon conspiracies, and you don't really know who to trust. You don't know whether these two main characters, Cole and his boyfriend, are on the up, or if Lee Harvey Oswald, who is the shadow director of the Department of Truth, is really who's running things and trying to effect a better world. So you get that story, and then, like I said, in the end, you get a story, I think it's part 2 of maybe 3, of the secret history of Elvis, and apparently he was taken over by Legion, it looks like here. It's just Elvis upon Elvis upon Elvis, that from different timelines, from different backgrounds. So it's interesting enough, but you know, Elvis was an interesting enough character without bringing any kind of mystery into why he was so popular and what brought him to where he is at. So, good book, not a great book. I'm hanging on for another couple of issues. This one has almost been on the cutting block a couple of times. We will see by the time that we get to, let's say, issue 36 or 37, whether I'm going to hang out and continue on. It's kind of like Something is Killing the Children that I keep talking about. No one's killed any children lately in that book, and it just seems like we're going back and learning more about Erica Slaughter, but we're not learning anything new about a new monster that is out to harm the kids that are the main focus of the title. So Department of Truth and Something is Killing the Children are kind of on the fence. So give me another few months and we'll see whether they make the cut. All right, and I'm going to talk about this book in an initial assessment video, and this is Galactic issue 1. It's got serious consequences, but it's still more Spaceballs than Star Wars. That's all I'm going to give you in this one. So look out for that video. I had to get this cover though, and it is a wraparound cover that very well shows off a Star Wars vibe. It's definitely got a classic Star Wars vibe to it. So I will talk about this book in another video. But guys, thank you for joining me in my new humble abode for this comic book channel. I hope you really, really like what you see. I did a video last night talking about, or no, it was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday, talking about the comic book room and presenting it to you for the first time. So I hope you enjoyed that look at the comic book room 1.0, and I can't wait to continue to build upon it so that I can bring you the coolest place ever for these comic book videos. Guys and gals, thank you so much for supporting the channel, for watching these videos. If you've made it to the end, please hit the like and subscribe. Let's keep this channel growing so that I can continue to build and talk about comic books just like these that I checked out this week, including Escape number 4. An awesome, awesome book. So guys, thanks for joining me again, and we'll catch you in the next video. Happy hunting this week for comics, and let me know in the comments below what books you picked up.